Well, hello everyone, and you're very welcome back to the Man United Agenda. Normal business is resumed because this is a preview show. Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to the Man United Agenda. Please do give us a like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate it. Just a few housekeeping announcements to do before I welcome our co-panelists. First of all, to those across the pond in America, a very happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day and that all your festivities and your family gatherings are going well. Uh, from anyone up in Dublin, I hope you are minding yourselves. There's a lot going on there at the moment, and just keep them in your thoughts because there is some very, I suppose, unpleasant stuff going on up there at the moment. And finally, I believe bath time it's the anniversary of one of our fallen YouTube comrades. Do you want to mention anything?
Rebel, I've absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I'm so sorry. What?
Um,
Who?
That the Stephen.
Stephen, yes,
Yeah, Stephen Fleetley, man. Oh wow. Is it a
Oh,
year, an anniversary? Is it a year now? Yeah,
I
Stephen
believe
Fleetley.
so. Yeah,
When we first started the channel, Stephen Fleetley was so supportive. He's a guy who suffered with from birth. He suffered with a condition which was always going to be life threatening, but he was so brave. He was unable to go to college or university, so he spent his time doing podcasting, and that's how we met in this lovely community. And you just go and have to check him out, Stephen Fleetley. What a wonderful guy he was. Really funny, outrageously funny sometimes when he didn't really mean it. That was what I really liked Stephen. Everyone liked him. Big Formula One fan, big Arsenal fan as well. Been on this channel many times before, and close friend to everyone on the channel as well. So it's a year to the day of his death. It was really unfortunate. He kept, it was a case of going into hospital all his life, and it got to the point where it sort of exhausted everything they could do for him, and he unfortunately passed away. So it was over a year ago. It's gone really quickly. But we miss you, Stephen. We keep your memory alive.
absolutely. And Matthew Bassett is echoing that sentiment. Apologies, Batham. I thought you knew him. My mea culpa on that front.
that's all right.
But
I did one show with Stephen, and he was a lovely man, and I feel very embarrassed that I didn't know it was a year since he
It's
passed
gone so
away.
quick,
But
yeah.
remember,
I'll tell you something.
yeah,
Did you see when you remember Lewis Hamilton lost to on the last race of the season a couple of seasons ago? He was doing a live watch along. I beg everyone to go and watch it. He was fuming. He's being robbed. He's smashing things in his bedroom and going. It's classic footage, but that's typical Stephen. So passionate with it, and yeah, it's a top guy, man.
absolutely. And of course, gentlemen, you're very welcome. It is great to be here speaking about football with you again this evening. We do have two parts to tonight's show. There is a small bit of paper talk, not takeover related, you'll be relieved to know. And then we will be launching straight in to the Everton preview. But on Monday, I think we need to say hello to Stephanie, Matthew, Zoe, Andrew, and a few others.
Yeah, big up, thumbs up, and a fist pump for Matthew Bassett. Always on time, always ready to join the Man United agenda. Big up, Matthew, and big up to Stephanie as well, giving us respect to everyone on the panel and everyone on the comments as well. And as just reiterating here, how wonderful guy that Stephen was. He definitely will be missed by everyone who knew him. Andrew Williams in the house as well. He's saying Stephen Fleetley. Yeah, that's the one. That's the right spelling as well. I always struggle to spell his name. Go and check him out. His channel's still open, guys. I was in that stream, absolutely ruining him. Says Andrew Williams. Talk about the Formula One. Is that what you're talking about, Andrew? That was a classic, absolute classic. Good guy, but we did not see eye to eye at all. That's fine. That's fine. No problem there. I mean, this we're here. At least you're honest. That's the thing. Stephen was a very honest guy, and you are as well. So we're all big friends here in the community, no matter what. We might bump heads like me and Rebel do a lot of the time, but we love each other.
Absolutely. And just a quick hello to Reggie as well. Just saw him popping in. But gentlemen, I am going to kick this off now. There is a lot of text here, but apparently, according to news reports today, Raphael Varane has looked to move on from Manchester United Football Club And the jigs and the reels of it is that the reporter here is claiming that Manchester United are aware he is unhappy and aware of the fact that his situation is unlikely to improve. They understand that he would receive the green light for transfer in the winter, but United want to sell him. A loan is not an option at the moment, and they are valuing him at 20 to 30 million pounds, with Bayern Munich believed to be a player. And of course, the much loved Gabby Agbonlahor on this channel recently suggested that Real Madrid knew that they were selling United a poke, and that the Manchester United defender was past his peak when he was sold to us back in 2021. And apparently, he's also drawn the conclusion that they did the same when they offloaded Casemiro to us. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Bath time. I'm sure you got a lot to say on this.
Not really, to be honest. I feel like we've spoken a lot about this. The only sort of like real insight you can sort of glean from that is that we're not looking for a loan. It's like we're looking for a straight up sale, cut our losses, move on. I really like the last paragraph of that text where Gabby said when Varane came on, he was dreadful and he could have given a penalty away, but he didn't. Maguire did. I find that quite funny. But no, I think everyone knows how I feel about Varane, and I wish him the best in wherever he goes.
So it's sort of like when you get a litter of dogs, there's one called a rut, isn't it? That's what Gabriel Bonhor was trying to say. The runt. Yeah. So we've got a runt of the pack, and I was surprised when they let him go. I knew he had a bad injury record, but I think, Champions League Varane, and we were sort of like, yes, this is the way forward. We're getting great players to come in, and I kind of think he's failed to deliver. I did sort of speak about this the other day when we sort of really touched on it as well. But I think Gabby. Sorry?
Before he came, did you rate Varane like as one of the best in the world?
I'd say this. I think the way to rate people is like when they come up against you. It's right to play more in the Spanish league and for the best team, which is outstanding. There's only 2 teams in that league. So I always try to judge it when they play against United, see how good this guy is, and or when they play against the Premiership teams. That's a good way to gauge, isn't it? To see how good they are against players that you're familiar with in the Premier League. And there was a game, obviously, when Ronaldo played against us, he was playing. And I was saying, okay, let's have a look at this guy. And there's a couple other games where he's played, where we've seen him on TV and in the Champions League. Obviously, he could go into finals and winning a lot of the time. And I think in hindsight, at the time, oh, yeah, he's a good player. But in hindsight, I realised he's good, but he's not a leader. He just does his job. He's not going to talk or be as commanding as Sergio Ramos, for example, who's a big personality and came up and scored goals and was clutch a lot of the time for Real Madrid, But there's no disrespect to him. But I just think, okay, he was good, but he's playing in a good team. He was a young player who developed really well. They bought him when he was only 19 years old, and ushered him through into the first team. And it's easier, isn't it? It's when you see like a player like Bellingham, who's good, 19-year-old, strong kind of player, and he played at a good level at Borussia Dortmund and going to a team like Real Madrid and fitting in really well because he's around good players. He could still be at Birmingham if he made poor decisions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not being outstanding and playing to the level you play at. So I think he was a young, good athlete at 19 years old, like Bellingham, who went to a good club, settled in, played good football in a great side, probably the best side of all time for Real Madrid, apart from the 50s, and who won so much. And then maybe, as Gabby's saying here, maybe sort of lost it, couldn't keep up with injuries, and they thought, let's sell him now because he's not going to get any better. And it's probably proven to be right. Yeah. So for once, I would say Gabby's right.
What do you think? Sorry, Monday. What do you think is the most important thing about like Real Madrid's decision to sell him? Would it be his injury record? Like he was, I remember when he was 19 or 20, there was a clip of him chasing Xavi down, and he was like an electric centre back as a teenager. Like sort of like his pace was unreal. Do you think it's that his it's not a physical decline, but he's not in the sort of the top 5% in terms of the pace you need to defend with the high line, or do you think it's his ball playing? which has always been something that we've questioned. Like, do you think it's a combination of all three, or do you think that one in particular is the reason that he might not be a top level centre back anymore?
I think it's one in particular, and I think I want to thank you for this. You highlighted about his distribution and what he can't do with the ball so well. There was a big article about it the other day, and I think it did. BATHTIME write this article. I think it was in the Athletic, because everything they were saying is what you said previously when we used to do our tactical shows, the eye test. You sort of really highlighted where he's faulty, where he's not so good, which is bringing the ball out and popping it off. You play it sideways. He hasn't got that key passing element which you need in a centre defender in this day and age. You just made a great point there about being athletic. Michael Owen was brilliant and athletic. That's what made him great. Once he lost that, he wasn't the player he used to be. And I think it's the same applies with Varane. If he's got all these injuries and hasn't developed his game with his passing, distribution, he had nothing to fall back on, then you're not going to be the player you are at this sort of age coming to the end of your career. A bit like Des Walker. Des Walker was known for his recovery pace. He never really lost that.
Yeah.
Did you know Des Walker for his coming up winning headers, apart from own goals and cup finals, or his leadership skills? The only stories I hear about Des Walker is talking about winding people up, centre forwards and sort of having a laugh and a joke. But his recovery pace was his main attribute. But that still made him world class to a certain point. So I think you're right, BATHTIME. It was all to do with the athleticism. Once that's gone, he hasn't got anything to fall back on, and that's the failure of a lot of players who have
not even reading the game.
No, yes, good. Reading the game's good because he's fast. He's always been able to do that. As you get, if you lost a yard, say for example, you can still read the game. Say, right, I know how to shepherd this guy into that corner there. But he's not. When he was young, he was able to do it naturally. I'm giving Michael Owen as a great example. For me, that's always the one. So electric pace, one of the Ballon d'Or winner at 19, 20 years old, World Cup's top best goal scorer in '98 for that goal he scored against Argentina. But he wasn't able to replicate that or develop his game because he was too small. Even though he was a great finisher, too small, didn't have that electric pace anymore, and that's what he never won another Ballon d'Or after that.
Yeah, it's why Giggs is just incredible, isn't it? Like the ability to adapt, like as he physically declined at being a top player.
Yeah, we won't mention his offside calls, but anyway. We'll move swiftly along to rumoured replacements, and we have spoken about this player before, Jean-Claire Todibo, Nice player that has essentially been very impressive in the French league since he moved from Barcelona. 22, and there's also interest in the 22-year-old Sporting Lisbon defender Gonzalo Incano. I'm not going to dwell too much on either of these because I think the lads did a fairly comprehensive sweep on both these players before. But if we were to move Varane on, how imperative is it that one of these players is brought in? Is all I'll ask you.
I think it's more about the profile. If you look at like the very last sentence, it's a vision of a robust and dynamic back line. Like what happens in the Premier League now is with your resting defence, you play a 3 and a 2. So if you think of Manchester City, you get like John Stones coming in to make a 2, and then they've got one of Diaz, Akanji, Aki, Gvardiol, and all these players are excellent at defending the box and they're excellent at defending out wide. They're specialists at like winning duels against pacey players. And if you want an example of that, if you think back to when we played Bayern Munich, I know I mentioned this a lot, but Dayat Upamecano ate Rashford alive all game in situations where he would have killed he'd have killed mid-table Premier League teams, because what we're looking for basically are elite centre-backs with pace and strength that can defend out wide. And the thing is, all of Europe is looking for that as well. So the sooner that we can get these boys in, the quicker we can move to a model that has been shown to win Premier Leagues. So I think it's really crucial that we get these modern defensive players in so we can get a better structure, get better results.
Most certainly. I mean, you made a great point there. Just want to touch on a few comments. With Varane, it depends on what options we have to replace him. I can't see who can come in, and that's better. I'd leave well enough alone with Varane. That's from Zoe Media House. Big up Zoe Media House. Andrew saying Varane has always been a number 2 centre-back. So obviously there's partnership. He is one of the very best at that role, being a number 2. Mr. B, as I like to say. Big up, Mr. B. Andrew Williams saying here, some guys need a leader alongside them. These are great comments, don't you think, guys, about the where we are with
Ramos,
Varane?
Martinez.
True. Pallister wasn't a talk, it was Steve Bruce. Yes, says Zoe Media House. Varane, before he came, he was elite world class, but we all know what happens to world class players after they arrive here. Bellingham could play for anyone. I did make a point about Bellingham. Maybe it wasn't fair. Big up to Teddy Free. I think you changed your name. I think I know who this is. Do we know?
We do. KM.
Yeah, that's Teddy.
Okay. Big up, says, good evening, guys, and all the family in the chatty. Big respect to you. Lovely to see you on board. Rajiji is saying here he loses 5% through age, but the team takes 35%. I want to say hi to the foundation, Mr. Solo, or in other words, Pinky. Mr. Pinky. That's what got me to know who Teddy is. Solo.
If you're digging into his team lineup later on, he gave us an interesting one.
Can't wait to see that. I haven't seen that yet. But big up Mr. Pinky, that's Solo, and big up Teddy as well. Wow, Des Walker, I haven't heard that name since I was a kid, says Zoe Media House. He was a great player. My view, says Andrew Williams, he was a composed, intelligent defender. Needs a bulldog to do dirty work. So that's about the hardships again. Yes, related to what Bathtime was saying, Giggs was an exception, not the rule. I'd also like to shout out John Barnes.
He was a defender as well, John Barnes. He started as a centre-back, innit? I just wanted to know who wants to keep Varane. Like, I know all the stuff Andrew's saying is I think really good. I'm not completely sure what a number 2 centre-back is. If I could get, if Monday you could tell me a bit more about.
You've got a lead. Oh, okay. There's a leader.
Is it the one? Is it the one who?
It's Captain Riker. Yeah, number 1 is like Riker. Picard was the captain, the leader.
No, what? No, right? No, I'm on. No, what I mean is the number 2 more of a sweeper, and the number 1 is the one that is contesting like the ball and stuff. Is that what he means? But beside the point, I want to know if people like Andrew and Zoe, who are very pro Varane, if they would actually keep him, or is it just that they think that there's a lack of quality in the transfer market? That's what I want. That's what I want to know.
I also want to know what Rebel thinks about this. But yeah, Giggs was an exception to rules. Talk about John Barnes. Did start at centre back, but he was a great left winger. Scored top goal scorer one season in the late 80s for Liverpool. But then he got a serious injury, lost his bit of his pace, and ended up playing centre midfield for Liverpool. So that's another way you can adapt, having that ability to fall back on. Teddy saying here, all good. Well, after Kathy's funeral on Monday, another sad day, got back this evening. So say sorry for the death of Kathy. I don't know who Kathy is, but yeah.
Kathy Ferguson.
Oh, of course. Okay. Condolences then, obviously, to the Fergie family. Andrew Williams is saying here, this is the Sporting Lisbon centre-back, isn't it? Always impressed me at Lisbon, but big jump to the physicality of the EPL. Always that jump, isn't there? And obviously, there's a lot of chat going on here. Barnes and Beardsley used to ruin us. They certainly did. Speaking of Giggs, says So Media House, when we have him back on our screens, absolute greatest Premier League player ever. Is he the best Welsh player ever? I think John Charles and Bell will say something about that. And Teddy's saying here, I put a ball playing number 1 as a number 1. Ball playing centre back as a number 1, and the ball stopper as a number 2. Combinations, isn't it? That answer your question, Bathtime, about leadership?
Yeah, and Matthew Bassett is also answering a question here. I think, is this the general feeling of everyone that like no one's going to cry over Varane leaving? It's about who comes in.
I think that's the general sentiment, Bathtime, but I am conscious that we're 20 minutes in and we haven't even watched the baby of the preview show, so I am going to move us swiftly along. We might
before you do, Rebel. Before you do, what are your thoughts on Varane? Because you
haven't. My thoughts on Varane are essentially that when it comes to him, if he goes, he goes. But given
if he dies, he dies.
But given the fact that the other options that are available, aka Lindelof and Evans, aren't exactly setting the world alight, and you can't really require a 35-year-old with the legs on the wane to play game in, game out, it is imperative that somebody that fits the profile then comes in. Varane cannot leave unless we have secured a proper centre back. That is my feeling on it. But I do need to move us along because I will just mention this one briefly. That Erik ten Hag said on the official website today that Rasmus Højlund could be in danger of missing the Everton game, and bad news for Solo. A little spoiler: Eriksson has been ruled out for some time. But I won't dwell on this slide because we do need to get in to the preview, and it's Shaw right now. We're going to look on in.
Not Shank Redemption, no.
Which well, I done that one yesterday. I also used it's Shaw time instead of show time. The title. Actually, a Monday. Have you actually seen that movie?
I have. It's a prison movie with Morgan Freeman, Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
But there he is now, Mr. B's favourite wing back with a big smiley head in him there on the screen. So, Mr. B, your boy is back. But I'm just going to blast through a couple of these, just for information purposes. In the head-to-head, we've only lost one game in the last number of occasions that we played them. That was in the Premier League encounter in the 32nd round on the 9th of April. So our win-loss record against them is quite good, but I don't think we can kind of take much out of that. But the one I do want to draw your attention to is this one. This is the Premier League table after Everton's points deduction. Now, whatever you might think about the fairness of such a points deduction, do you think that would add an extra layer of steel, make them a bit more dogged, a bit more determined, because they're going to feel that they need to right an injustice, and that they could be turning Goodison Park into hell for opposing teams?
Okay, I'll just jump on this. Goodison Park always a tough place to go, especially they've got something to fight for. Look, remember, like a few years ago, there was so many sort of last day relegation battles, and they happened to be at Goodison Park, and the crowds were like the 12th man for them. So it really means a lot. It's a horrible place to go when they're on it, and they've got some injustice. You know, these Scousers love a bit of injustice, and to go with them. So whether it's with relegation or fighting for titles, which they used to do. Funny, I saw a picture the other day of 1986 World Cup. It was Trevor Steven, Gary Stevens, Peter Reid and Gary Lineker, 4 top players for England in that World Cup, all playing for Everton at the time, 1986, going to Mexico. But yeah, they haven't been the same since the Howard Wilkinson days. They did beat us in the cup final in 95. That was their last major trophy. It's really unfortunate what's happened to them. But when you look at the table, they can climb out of that. They did have 14 points, didn't they? So they've dropped 10. This is with the 10 deduction. They will feel they've got something to fight for now. But will it be against Manchester United, or will they be looking for other games? Because they managed to get points already this season. I think they've got a decent squad. As we discussed, Anana yesterday. They've got Gay in midfield as well. Up front, if he's fit, Calvert, Llewellyn. Ain't the right bath time. And so they've got a decent squad. And they've got England's #1 keeper as well. So you expect them to stay up. But with this 10-point deduction, the injustice, maybe they will fight harder. Hopefully it's not starting this Sunday at 4:30 live watch along. Watch out with Mr. B, by the way.
Bath-time, what I want to ask you actually is this. If you look at their goals for, goal against record, it's quite similar to ours. So is it a case that maybe it could be a dour affair that is rather defensive in its output?
No, I don't think so at all. Like, I'm extremely trepidatious about this game for many reasons. The first reason is I think the general feeling in football is that this is a draconian and punitive punishment to Everton. I would not expect to get a single decision that isn't cast iron to go our way at the weekend. You think like quality of reffing's been bad? I've got a feeling that on Sunday things are going to be different. Whatever you sort of say about the Glazers and how they're terrible owners and things, Everton's owners are criminal in what they've done to this to one of the founding fathers of the Premier League and one of England's greatest football clubs. That crowd is going to be baying for blood. Like, it's going to be an incredibly intimidating atmosphere. We know that our own supporters groups are going to join in with Everton to make a protest. So I think it's going to be a wild game, like really, really end to end, which will probably suit us. But one thing about Everton is that they make a lot of chances. I had a little look at their like XG and stuff like that earlier, and not just for the points deduction, but with the amount of chances they create, they should be far higher. And this really is a game for Harry Maguire on Monday. I think that I don't think we can have like Lindelof, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, like the rumoured to come back. I don't think we can have anyone in our central defence but Maguire at this game, because I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a classic. To be honest, I think this is going to be a really exciting, full-blooded, passionate game going back to 80s football. But I am a bit scared. I think there's going to be a red card for us.
Very interesting indeed. And of course, we did hear the rumours, that time you made me aware of them earlier on, that Sky Sports are reported to be reducing the amount of mics that will be in the crowd due to the possibility of expletives being uttered due to the dissent or disgruntlement towards that 10-point deduction.
Yeah, it's gonna be such a vitriolic and angry game, and I think it's actually gonna be a really good test of a lot of our players. Because we kind of fought our way back into the top six, and we're gonna have to fight an Everton team that are powerful and strong all over the pitch. And I hate Jordan Pickford. I know none of you rate him, but he always puts in like classic performances against United. I'm really worried about this game.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting indeed. And before you go to the comments on Monday, because I think this one will fuel quite a few comments, we have a number of shared players and obviously a shared manager in David Moyes. But on your screen you see Mr. Wayne Rooney, Mr. Tim Howard, Mr. Louis Saha, and someone that you like to speak about quite a lot on Monday. Who's your final player on that screen?
Sparky, did he play for Everton? Are you sure?
Did.
When?
Positive.
When?
I will let you know.
Yeah, you better go check that out, because I don't believe that's true. I'm a big Sparky fan. I don't think he played for Everton Football Club. He played for Man United, Barcelona, and then he went to Chelsea Football Club, not Everton. So yeah, we might have to change that one. Phil Neville
played for Everton.
Popping for Phil Neville.
He played in 2018 appearances, 1 goal. So,
oh wow, that's news to me.
Big fan of Monday. Big fan of Sparky, were you? Followed his career.
But I think so. We took Wayne Rooney. He didn't have his best days. He played 1-2 seasons for Everton, and we had his best career at Man United. Tim Howard, we had his best days at Man United. Went to Everton and was fighting relegation. Hughesy was well past it. I don't know, 2000. He would have been like 45 years old. And Louis Saha obviously had his better days with Man United as well. So we've had the better players. We do tend to pick them off for their best players, and they do produce some good players over the years, don't they? I think there's another guy who played centre back who plays for them, went via Burnley, who used to play for us.
Michael Keane,
that's the one. Well done. And Phil Neville as well. But yeah, there's oh gosh, that's another one.
Who got the better one out of that? Like Lukaku played his best football at Everton, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah, he played really well there.
Lukaku was before he piled on the muscle. Remember, he was lean, mean machine at Everton when he was on loan from Chelsea.
I don't remember Lukaku being lean or mean. I just remember them big Timberlands stomping around.
And yeah, obviously they used to have Duncan Ferguson as well, who yeah, he was a bit of a nightmare, wasn't he? I remember Jaap Stam got introduced to Premiership, coming up against him, and there's a few push and shove. You can all push and shove, that kind of thing. But I think Ten Hag's the man to deal with it. I'm a Haggite, as they say. I didn't become... I'd like to say this regarding Hag. I didn't become a little bit of a hag. I became a total hag when he joined the club. I just loved the guy, and I think before the show I was listening to an interview from him, and obviously saying the same things over again. But I've got so much belief in this guy. I think going to he's won 4 of the last 5 games in the Premiership, and this is a massive game as well. And I've looked at the fixtures as well. We've got Aston Villa, we've got West Ham, we've got Chelsea, we've got Liverpool coming up. We've got some really massive games. So this is a crucial type period for us. So let's get behind the manager. Let's all become total ags.
On Monday, like the players, like in the last couple of wins, have credited a Netflix documentary and a bed sheet, like, and not Ten Hag. His interpersonal skills are so bad. I'm surprised that Tonali hasn't taken him down a casino like in Rain Man.
Here, bad type. You've set him off now. He's gonna be laughing like that for about 10 minutes.
I think that's quite a good joke myself. Thank you.
But on Monday, before we get on to a certain Andy Cole's comments, will you give us a few comments?
Yeah, most certainly. But Shawshank Credential is a great film. Great film. He's saying there. A few actors that are in it: Tim Robbins, Jimi Hendrix, and Clancy Brown. We've got Rajiji saying, I think Everton are coming for blood. Yeah, that's what BATHTIME is saying. It's true. Everton won't go down, but we will beat them this weekend. That's from Jimmy Mack. It'd be great if they don't go down. I think there's a record. Most teams with deductions go down. But if they do stop that, I think it was last time they went down in the 50s. What a great side. Andrew Williams saying here, Everton going to be really tough for sure. Emma's saying here, it's going to be rough. Everton have got something to prove. However, it could go against them if they're a bit over the top with it. Well, BATHTIME saying the decisions might go their way. Andrew Williams saying here, I'm not always right, but I tend to smell our nightmare performances out. I think we'll get turned over. That's from Andrew. We've got Emma saying here, is Ten Hag on the sidelines, or will he be ruled out for this one? I don't understand. Is there a reason why he might be not there?
He's suspended. He got too many yellows.
Ten Hag?
Because, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay. Andrew Williams saying we should have one eye on Istanbul as well. Is that on the following midweek? Yeah. Everton is Zoe Media House saying Everton is criminal, but you can't go after them like a witch hunt. And the likes of City, Chelsea, FFP drag for years and years. This is where it's unfair and a little fixed as well. A bit of question marks about whether Hughesy played for Everton. It's been confirmed that he actually did. Andrew Williams gone as far as saying Man United, Barca, Man United, Chelsea, Southampton, and beyond that. Yeah, I can't believe that one. Fellaini as well, somewhat, and Ashley Young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Teddy saying here, Garner as well, says Zoe Media House, and Teddy saying here, Everton are one league founders, not the Premier League, Prem BT. Unfortunately, we initially weren't allowed in, was a union nonsense thing in the late 19th century. Do anyone know? I can't pick up on this one. Do you know what Teddy's saying here?
It's so like League One founders and the Premier League are different. Like the Premier League's 92, I think, in it, and it was a breakaway league. I think this is about how, like in 1870, which is more your field of expertise, Monday, that Man United or Newton Heath, like I don't even think we were in Newton Heath then. We were like the light train company or something. We weren't allowed into the league for various reasons. I think that's what she's talking about. It's always cutting edge, like minute to minute news on the United agenda.
And you might be interested to know on Monday that after Everton, he finished his footballing career at Blackburn Rovers.
And he managed them as well, didn't he, eventually? Yeah.
He did ultimately in 04 afterwards, yeah, that's correct.
Big up Sparky. What a great player he was.
But moving right along, we do need to talk about another great player. And Andy Cole has had a bit to say about Manchester United Football Club and the upcoming game against Everton. So here we go. So firstly, he's saying that he thinks Manchester United, if they get a draw against absolutely devastated Everton at the weekend, it will be a good result. So he's saying, take a draw and run home. He's also saying, this will be a tough game for Manchester United. I think Everton are going to be galvanised and they will respond positively after they were handed the points deduction. They know they need to win games to get themselves out of that bottom three. And despite the victory, it wasn't an easy game for Manchester United last season when they played. And if they come away from Sunday's game with a draw, he'd take it all day long. Everton absolutely devastated with the 10-point deduction, but they're in good form, and Sean Dyche has got them going. Manchester United have been very unpredictable thus far this season, and if they come away from the game with a draw, then that would be a good result in his opinion. He's said that quite a number of times already about a draw. And then his final two statements surround Bruno Fernandes. But any thoughts about his assertions to the draw before we move on to Bruno?
You see where he's coming from. He's made his point really clear about obviously they're outraged and they'll be galvanized. So yeah, he makes a good point, but I don't agree with him.
Yeah, I think that despite the fact Goodison's never been an easy place to go, I know he's no longer our player, but De Gea produced some of the most ridiculous goalkeeping things against Everton. Like even at Old Trafford last season, that thing off the post, that he kicked it in off a player. I think 2 seasons ago. We like, despite the fact that Goodison was a hard place to go, we conceded very stupid and sloppy goals. And I think that if we can like play tight, we've got a good chance against Everton. I just worry about if the players are going to get intimidated by that atmosphere, because it's going to be a historic atmosphere. It's unprecedented what's happened to Everton, and those Scousers will be, they'll be drinking blood and like, you know, I want to see if like, remember when like people were lobbing pigs' heads at Figo? I want to see if like Garnacho's got the minerals to deal with some like annoyed Scousers.
Most interesting. And speaking of a player that's annoyed people, he had his bit to say about Mr. Bruno Fernandes as well. He thinks there's a lot of talk about Bruno not being the right choice for captain. But if you look around the Manchester United dressing room currently, then who else would you give the captaincy to instead? There's not 4 or 5 standout contenders. And he says he can understand why people don't want to see their captain flapping their arms about in frustration, which he personally thinks is disrespectful to his teammates. But at this moment in time, he's the man, and he will captain the side in the way which he believes is beneficial to both himself and his teammates.
Yeah, good point there. I think he's not burying the captain. He shouldn't do that. And you expect like former players who are sort of discussing Man United, like Andy Cole and Rio and all these guys, to sort of go easy, not go too hard on players, you know. And I don't think there's no reason to go too hard on Bruno Fernandes, because the only evidence to suggest that he's not a good captain is throwing his arms around. Oh, people don't like that. They like to see tough guys being captain. They've got it in their mind that their captain doesn't do that. I think Bruno's a great player. I think he represents, every time he goes on the pitch, demonstrates that internationally for his country. And he's very proud to play for Man United. He's still at the club. You don't hear much rumours about him going elsewhere or having his head turned. He's totally committed. It is what it is. He's Portuguese. You're going to get this with Portuguese players. He wins us a lot of free kicks. He wins us a lot of games. He's a figurehead of our side. If you were to name our best player right now for the last few years, Bruno Fernandes will be one of the leading candidates for that position. So I think whether you dispute him being a captain or not, we had the same argument with Harry Maguire. He's captain, as Andy Cole says. I agree with him on this one. Let him remain captain until we get someone else who does tick all the boxes to fulfill everyone's fantasies about these Brian Robsons and Roy Keane kind of roles of captain. At the moment, I'm happy with Bruno Fernandes. Let him stay.
Do you think that's the problem, OMONDI? Like, I mean, Cole's been out of professional football for I don't know, at least 10 years. His captains were players like Keane, as you say. I don't think that the modern captain is what it used to be. Like when you look at captains 15 years ago, you got Terry, Lampard, Keane, all these ones. Now you look at the captains in the Premier League, and they're nothing like what they used to be. I think that the captaincy is obviously it's a great honour, and you shouldn't be chucking armbands on the floor and stuff. But I think it's wildly overrated, like what a captain can do. My only concern with Fernandes is I haven't seen anything approaching what we saw from those great players, where they dragged us back into a game. Since Bruno's been captain, I can't think of one performance where he's grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and just through force of will dragged us to a win. I mean, have I forgotten one?
There was one recently where he scored the winner, last minute winner, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, that was more Palestri and Martial fighting than Bruno. And he did very well. He showed his quality. But I mean, I haven't seen him since he became captain stamp himself on a game. Like, really sort of, you know, chest out, completely dominate a game. And that's my only real concern with Fernandes as captain. I would like to see him, the way Beckham did for England, I'd like to see him go up a level with the captaincy.
Can I just...
You've raised actually a very interesting question. It's something I want to throw to our lovely members in the audience. What club in the Premier League currently has a captain that does what BATHTIME is articulating? Get them out there, let us know who you think, and we might have a gander at them there later on.
Just to throw this out there, I mean, Liverpool fans, I know a lot of Liverpool fans, friends of mine, and they say, they're talking about the debate with Henderson and Gerrard. They say Henderson was a better captain than Gerrard. But what BATHTIME is saying there, Gerrard, we've seen him take a game by the scruff of his neck and win it. Whether it's the Champions League final, whether it's the FA Cup final against West Ham, whether it's against Olympiacos trying to get qualified, he's done it. He's proven that by his displays on the pitch. But they say Henderson, obviously he's won the Champions League as well, and he's a good captain, he's a leader, he's a talker. I've heard a lot of pros talk about him positively, saying he's a great person to have around because he's got those attributes where he's a talker, he encourages, he's a leader on the pitch, that kind of thing. But you never see Henderson dragging a game by his neck, and like in the way that Gerrard did. That's a different level, and we can't expect that from Bruno either. Different player to Roy Keane. This is not Juve semi-final. You understand what I'm saying, or other big games where Roy
football's changed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the point. Role of the captaincy has changed. I just had hopes that Bruno, because I agree with pretty much everything that you say about, like, regardless of how annoying Bruno can be on a football pitch, 100% committed, like, loves his teammates, never, like, he's not one of the players throwing anyone under a bus. He's like, you know, he's trying to drive the bus. I was just hoping that we might see a bit more responsibility from him on the football pitch with the ball when he became captain, the same way we saw Beckham did for England. But I mean, I don't think that there's any outstanding leader in the United team. The only thing Ralph Rangnick ever said that I agreed with is that he thought that McTominay should be captain.
Absolutely. No, I do want to just mention that we're coming up to the score prediction time. So get them in there while OMONDI and BATHTIME are going to be dissecting the solo 11. And I just want to say, Teddy's saying no player today is, unless you're mid-30s plus and still playing, they're all such and such. I'm being very careful of my solo finds because I think I use my swear words for the year before the summer. But
drum roll, please. Solo 11.
Solo 11. Here we go. So they're flanked by the gorgeous McTominay and Højlund. He's got Onana in goal, Dalot and Wan-Bissaka on the wing backs, Maguire and Varane at centre back, Eriksson and Scotty in centre mid, Rashi and Palestri in a kind of a deep wing back coverage position with Bruno advanced in behind the striker. So, BATHTIME, I'm going to cut you loose in this first. What is wrong with Solo's 11?
Palestri is a doubt. I doubt we'll see Varane play. Højlund's a doubt as well. I like the midfield. I think Rashford will play, but I think he'll probably play on the right. And I don't know, because Garnacho... Did Garnacho go to Argentina?
Not sure.
I don't think he did. I think he missed call up, if I remember correctly.
All right, then Garnacho will play like on the left, and Evans will come in for Varane. But I don't think that's too bad. Hopefully, it's got enough to beat Everton. Is there anyone there on Monday that you would sort of single out?
I heard as well Eriksson might not be available, or Højlund might not be available either with injuries. We should talk about Shaw. Luke Shaw could be back. The Shawshank Redemption, isn't it right, Rebel? So if Shaw, I don't think he'd be thrown in straight away though. But this is a tough game. I think what you need credentials, you need big kahunas for this game, don't you? So I like McTominay in midfield. That for me is like, yeah, I'm happy with that. Fernandes has to play, obviously. You were right at the start of the show. Halftime was talking about Maguire being a must in centre back for this sort of game because of the way that Everton are going to be fighting with their manager Sean Dyche. You need a proper guy like Harry Maguire to go out there and win it with his headers initially. I can't imagine the other guys, like you said, Martinez and Varane, being strong enough to deal with that sort of pressure. So I think Maguire, maybe Evans. I would start with Evans. The fullback situation, I'm quite happy with what we're seeing there. Going forward, but I'm with you on this one, Bathtime. I think Rashford on the right, Garnacho on the left. I don't think he could throw Palestri out there in a game like this. That Palestri is, I saw him have an assist for Darwin Núñez in midweek against Argentina of all teams, I think it was, for Uruguay. Great assist, running down the wing, cutback, nice little cutback, and it was slotted home brilliantly. So he's getting confidence, and I think there's going to come a time where he's going to be more in consideration. But at the moment, with what we know and what we got, I think it would be Rashford on the right and Garnacho on the left, and maybe Martial up front if Haaland is out. Eriksson, you'd have to put Mount in if he's not available. So McTominay, Mount, or no, actually, I would go McTominay and Amrabat. We need a bit more steel in there. So it'd be McTominay, Amrabat, Mount on the bench, Rashford on the right, and Garnacho on the left.
Yeah, I think Palestri's injured on Monday, and also I'm not a fan of the first game back after international break for Latin Americans. All the way back to the days of Tevez, they always perform poorly because of the travel and the celebrations that they might have got up to. I don't know about Amrabat though. I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
I really hope Eriksson's fit. Like, I want him at 6. Like, I think the days of McTominay as the number 6 have finished now. He's probably the player that's most likely to score at the moment. So I want him as far up the pitch as possible. And I'd like Eriksson in that 6.
Okay. I believe it did say in this screen that it was confirmed that Eriksson will be missing for the next couple of weeks on the international on the official website. So there will be no Eriksson for the Everton game.
Not turned on enough.
So, gentlemen, it looks like we're going to be down to the bare bones in terms of our squad. So that brings us to that part of the show. Before you delve into the viewers' comments, it is score prediction time. And I'm going to kick it all off on the basis of, if we're missing all the players that we're supposed to be missing, that we'd be lucky to come out of it with a 0-0 draw. However, a 1-0 win to the Toffees may not be the biggest shock in the world.
I'm going to go with a 4-1 win. I think in the manager's interview today, the games we've won, obviously we've won 4 of the last 5. It's only been by a single goal. We're not scoring enough. But the manager said we created a lot of chances. I think because Everton got to go for it, the crowd will get on their back. Sean Dyche might get overexcited and leave a few little space in behind. So I think we can sort of really hurt them. And I think it's not going to be, as Andy Cole was saying, a lot of doubts about whether we can go there and get a good result. I think we can. I think it's time we started winning properly, even though we would have formed team in the Prem. I think we need to go there and show it because they've got something to fight for, but so do we. There's City playing Liverpool teams. We have to seize the day. I'm saying we're going to win 3 or 4-1 away from home.
I agree with OMONDI. I don't think that this is going to be a low scoring game. I think like a Sunday afternoon game away at Goodison. I'm going 4-3 United, like an absolute classic. I think that Everton don't look after the ball particularly well. They've got an extremely powerful midfield, but with the combination of McTominay, Bruno and Rashford, I think can cut through that midfield on transitions. I think we're going to see an absolute classic game because Everton are not going to hold back. They've got to set. They're in a relegation fight. They've got to score goals. The best way we can score goals is through transitions. I think we're looking at 4-3.
Do you know, gentlemen, for the sake of the spectacle in our eyeballs, I would hope that we'd have a bit of a goal fest, and that will be an entertaining Sunday game for us. But what we think now is pretty much done and dusted. Monday, what do the viewers think?
I'll pass it over. Bath time. I might have a few technical difficulties.
Okay. All right. So Teddy is saying it's going to be a 3-2 away win with Tony Martial getting closer to that Ballon d'Or with a 3-2 with a hat trick. So he's gone 4-0. I think Ten Hag needs a more convincing win than Everton. And We Deserve Better has ironically gone with a 1-1 draw. Rajiji, he's going for a draw as well. 3-3, so we think there's a lot of goals, except for We Deserve Better, who doesn't think we score. And then Andrew is congratulating Rebel for not pandering. We hate it when we pander. And then up here we got some more scores that I missed. Double A is saying 3-0 or 2-1. United are defo winning the game. I like your confidence. Rasmus and Christian are out, are they not? Oh, Emma K, give me a dramatic 4-1 win. I couldn't agree more. And Matthew Bassett has said it's 2-0 to Everton. That's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? And I can't see any more scores. So, yeah.
Excellent. Gentlemen, that does conclude the Everton preview. We will, of course, have that live watch-along on Sunday, 4:30, so set your alarm clocks. Tomorrow, the fish and chips are going to be coming out of the Mr. B chipper, and we will have a Friday night takeaway. Bath time, have yourself and OMONDI got any tactical, inspirational shows for us tomorrow?
We could do a tactics show, I suppose, if you want. We could talk about how midfields work. If anyone wants to know about pressing or anything like that, and do a general Q&A. The Friday show is normally a Monday talking about 1960s football mixed in with a bit of Ten Hag's press conference. But if you want, if you want us to get the tactics board up and discuss, I don't know, something like McTominay's role, or which players we expect to get on the ball and which players we don't expect to get on the ball, our defensive shapes, then I'm perfectly happy to do any of those things. So let us know in the comments if there's anything in particular you want to see.
Yeah, I would like to know, Bath time, how are we going to stop Iwobi?
We stopped him last week, innit? Stopped him a couple of weeks ago. I like Iwobi. I know he's like an ex-Gooner. But do you know his uncle is, yeah?
Yeah, JJ.
Yeah, one of my favourite ever players.
Yeah.
Like an unserious man, but just so. Just imagine doing rainbow flicks in the Premier League and stuff. Just a beautiful man. I wish we still had random players like that who would just produce a new skill move that you haven't seen. Last one was Balassi, I think, Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah. Do you think there's some skills? There's one skill Okocha used to do where he used to he roll it, the ball would move, roll it through his leg, little
I still do
body
it.
shape, and it's you can do it.
Yes. It was France 98. I copied that all the time. It was absolutely fantastic because when you're a slow player like me and Okocha wasn't lightning quick, but what he did that I liked, because you've always got to take things that you like from players, is he committed his man early. And that skill move commits them. So it commits the player so early, and it gets you the space on the outside. Which, if you're a slow player, to be able to access that outside space and have your man committed is what you've always got to be looking for. If you're Rashford, you can just knock it and run. But that JJ swerve with the hips, and the body shape in. It also opens up the defence because it's not just that man that you're sending. Every other player is taking a step to the left, and you're taking a step to your right, or vice versa. Absolutely wonderful move. Like, if you are a midfielder, do that.
I must say, it's skills like that which you can't defend against, because you might know it's coming, but you can't stop it. It's one of those ones. A bit like Kana used to do a little cutback or something. Every single time. It doesn't matter how good a defender you are. Every time you've got to fall for it, because you just can't help it. You can't risk him shooting. You can't risk. You have to sort of jump in, and once you sacrifice like that, you're gone. You're gone. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that skill like you. But I've always rated that skill because it always seems to come off, no matter what situation. He's able to do his man every single time, and I think that's outstanding to be able to do that. All these step overs and all this doesn't mean anything. You don't go anywhere. This ball, you do go somewhere with it.
Step overs are good. Like but
you're not moving. You're not going. You can stand up. As a defender, you can stand up on the step over. This move that JJ does, the ball's going, the ball's moving, and he dummies you. He'll look you in the eye and send you that way. He's going that way. Step overs, you can stand up and jockey a guy, I imagine.
Yeah, but it's basically a step over, though. Like the point of a step. If you use a step over, like in midfield, I don't like this. Figo started this with doing 4 or 5 step overs, and what he's trying to do is very different to what I'm trying to do. He's trying to unbalance his man, and then because he can go either side. A step over in midfield works exactly the same way, where you can, if a block is moving across and you do a step over and go the other way, you open up so much space for your next pass. It's like, I'm very surprised we don't see more midfielders doing step overs, but obviously they have far less time and space than I do pissing about in Wales.
Well, gentlemen, I must say it's been an absolute pleasure, but Andrew has reminded me that I do have some Thanksgiving football to watch. So if you want to continue this conversation with Bath Time and OMONDI, be sure to join them for OMONDI's 1965 to 1917 Manchester United history. But from us and from Scott and Harry, have a very blessed Thanksgiving. And Shaw's well, that ends well. We out of here.
Good night.